Hello friends, and welcome to Follow My Garden. Thanks for being here today. Today we're going to talk about transplanting these seedlings, which have been growing inside the house under lights since it looks like April the 20th, so almost a month. And first of all, the thing that you have to remember before you transplant these is to water them prior to transplanting. You can use something like VitaStart transplanting fertilizer or some kind of liquid boost to the plants so that when we get ready to put them in a new pot, they don't go into shock. And I have my bucket here with my soil, which I'm going to amend with some worm casting. So let's go out to the worm casting bin and we'll grab a little bit of soil. Okay, so this is on the north side of the greenhouse. I have a worm composting bin, which I fill with llama poop, and that's what feeds my worms. I'll talk about worm farming at some other time, but what I'm going to do here is I'm going to grab, and as you can see, this soil it still has a little bit of the llama in it, but it's very rich soil. It's basically worm castings. This is what worms do, and it's great fertilizer. So I'm going to grab some of this to amend the soil that I'm going to put my seedlings into. This will give them a good head start. Always what you're thinking about is putting in the healthiest plant that you can into the garden so that its own natural immune system keeps predators, by that I mean bugs or anything that might damage the plant from occurring, because the healthier your plant root, the better the plant sustains itself. Okay, so I've gotten a 5-gallon bucket. I've got this pail 2/3 of the way full, and I'm just going to mix in those worm castings a bit so that we've got a nice rich soil to put our seedlings into. Alright, so I'm transferring these into 2-inch pots, and you only want to fill your pot 1/3 of the way, so that you've got barely the bottom covering. And the reason is when you pop, this happens to be a little cabbage plant, you want to keep as much of your root undisturbed. These are your 2 cotyledon leaves, the leaves that come out when the plant is first growing, and these are the 2 true leaves. And you want to plant once you have these 2 once you have these 2 true leaves out. You don't want to do it before then. And as you can see, this plant is very happy. The leaves are, nice and green and healthy. And what you're going to do is you're going to put your plant in so that you're covering your true leaves, and you're going to go to the base. You're going to cover your cotyledon leaves, and you're going to go to the base of your true leaves and cover them up. So the way that I do that is I stick this whole, as much as you can, try not to disturb that root ball. And I usually just grab the top of the plant so that the true leaves you're going to cover those first leaves up, the cotyledon leaves, and you grab these 2 so that they're between your fingers at the top of the pot. And then you fill all around them so that in effect what you've done is you've made the place where your true leaves are, the first true leaves, the bottom of the plant now. And there's your transplanted plant. This is ready to go. Make sure that you water it well. I would water it again with some kind of growth stimulant, something that will help the plant get a head start. Whenever you transplant anything, it goes a little bit into shock. So what you're trying to do is you're trying to get this plant to have as little bit of a reactive shock as you can give it. You know, if you live in a hot climate, I happen to live in the mountains. Today's really warm for the mountains and this time of year, so I'm going to make sure that this plant is watered well. And since I'm not going to have any freezing temperatures, I will not cover this plant. If you know in the 2 days after you transplant that you're going to get a little bit of a frost, then put some Reme over him. Let me show you a little bit of what Reme cloth looks like. I have some over here. This is Reme. It's breathable, and you can get it through online. It's got a porous, it's kind of porous. It lets moisture in and air in, but it keeps the plant from being damaged. So thank you for being here and following my garden, and we'll see what happens next time. Thank you, my friends.
Oh, I guess I stopped, but I still I can still see you.
Is it recording?
Is it? Is the red light on?
Yeah.
Oh, dear.